Excellent. So stadiums and venues. So this is a little bit about legacies, because what I've found over the numerous years that I've been working as an architect is that the brief that we get is quite varied across the different venues. The stadiums and venues are really important parts of the infrastructure of a town or a city. And it's really important to get this right. So what gives me the right to talk about this? Well, I've been an architect, sports architect in particular, for too many years now, 30 odd years. And as a business, we're lucky enough to have many sectors. It's not just about football and sports. There's the commercial, there is residential and healthcare, and all of these come together. And all of these come together to form a master plan. And it's important that the master plan is quite clear and clearly defined at the very beginning. And it's not just about the football clubs, the cricket clubs. It's also about events, because events are catalyst to regeneration of a city. And whether or not that is in the leisure department or arenas. The one on the top right is Swansea Arena, which has just opened. That is about regenerating the city centre of a small Welsh town. I'm Welsh, by the way. I'm going to Qatar. Yes! I've waited many years to say that. So, the brief we normally get is, I want a FIFA-compliant stadium. We need 60,000 seats. They're only getting 10,000 spectators coming along to a game. So often we go, well, actually, do you? Because we can build big projects, spend a lot of money, and in essence, we don't need to. So there's three types of projects and three examples that I'm going to be talking about. One is Lusail, where it was specifically built only and just for the World Cup, but the legacy is not about football. We also have Atatürk Stadium, where it was built to be a venue for the Olympics. They were unsuccessful, and is now going to be used for football. And we have Brentford, a community stadium, 17,000, totally different capacity, but it was designed with a brief as a Premier League venue. When they started, they were only in League Two. 20 years ago, they had a vision for a stadium. Their brief changed over 20 years, but they are where they are. So I've built grey elephants. They should be white elephants, but I call it a grey elephant because it's in the middle of South Africa. The games in South Africa was about bringing the communities together. It did that for a period of time. It was successful. But the stadium is 45,000 in a city of 100,000. It didn't need to be that big. We tried very hard to build a legacy, which was to have two of the end stands demountable, so that they could be taken to two other capital towns in the region. But it never happened. So they've now got a 45,000 seat stadium in the middle of South Africa, where basically nobody uses, which is a shame. You'd look at London 2012, hailed as being a great legacy project. Some of the venues have been great, the Aquatic Centre, the Copper Box, etc. I would argue that the stadium has not been that successful, because the original concept was for the lower tier to be retained, the upper tier to disappear, and for it to become a smaller athletics venue. What they've done is kept the upper tier, removed the lower tier, and converted it into a football, which isn't really, it's not suited for football, but that's my opinion. But there's other ways. But this is where the legacy was not set out at the very beginning and followed through. So a little bit more about Lusail. So we've been lucky enough to work on this project since 2006. The Fosters were the concept architects, and we've modified and delivered the project. Working with the SC, we've developed the design so that it is a net 80,000 capacity. And the legacy project here is not about football, I mentioned. It's about keeping the external form, so you're always reminded about the vision of the stadium, but it is going to be converted into a retail facility, accommodation, residential accommodation, offices, etc. So the legacy here is quite different. But, you know, this is the vision that people will see next week. What we did was we designed the stair cores, some of the toilets, some of the facilities, the press rooms, etc., so that they could be retained, reconverted, and reused in the future as another usage. So there are areas where the facilities will be taken out, removed, demolished, but the floor plates will be remained and in some places expanded to accommodate the additional uses in here. Hopefully, whoops. There should be a video playing. It's a bit like a roller coaster, I'll tell you. I watched it on my... No, it's okay. They want to have their lunch. If you go on YouTube, you can find it. It's a fantastic fly-through of Lusail Stadium. It shows the qualities and the facilities in there. But you know, be warned: sit down, don't stand up, because if you know, they've used one of these drones and they fly around the place. So the second project came out after we were lucky enough to win the rights to write the bid for Turkey in their as a candidate for 2024. I was very lucky. I visited every one of these venues. It's an amazing country, it really is. And I think they're also bidding for 2028 and 32, I think it is. The legacy here was quite different. So Atatürk Stadium, within the overall bid, we developed a scheme where they could convert the existing site, because the site was already designed to host, you know, 80,000, 90,000 people. So why find another site for a 60,000, 80,000 seat stadium when the infrastructure and the facilities are already in place? They're also bidding to host the Champions League final, and eventually they're doing it this year with a bit of luck, and hopefully Blue Rock can help them get to where they need to be. Good luck, Luis. But again, what we were doing here was looking to see how we could enhance the existing venue, convert it from being an athletics venue, an Olympics venue, into a football venue. So we started by looking at the overall timescales. What could we achieve in the various timeframes? So the first phase was going to be the insertion of a new lower tier, keeping all of the existing facilities, but linking and providing a better atmosphere for watching football. We were going to convert all of the facilities on the ground floor, and we have actually done most of these works already, to convert it from being an athletics venue into a football venue. Luckily, because athletics have numerous warm-up spaces, call-up rooms, a myriad of changing rooms, we were able to convert and combine all of these to form a UEFA-compliant facility. And yes, it will host some great football here. Hopefully Liverpool will win it again, having been successful there in 2005. And actually Wales are playing Turkey in June. So again, hopefully another symbol why I'm going to be going to Turkey. this wasn't just about improving the general facilities in there. This was also about providing better accommodation for those with disabilities, providing improved accessibility into a stadium. Because don't forget, this venue was designed back in the 1990s, when nobody thought about wheelchair access for ambulance, disabled, etc. So we were providing better accessibility and inclusivity in here. The requirements for corporate facilities has changed as well. So again, we reviewed, replanned, reworked all of the interior spaces from the players' facilities all the way up to the hospitality, and including the concourse facilities. And then phase 2, should they have won the rights to host 2024, was after the Champions League final, was to build effectively a new upper tier, converting this into what they called a machine for making money, because the problem the TFF had was that this venue was not going to make any money because there was no corporate facilities there was no real support facilities, there was no non-match day activities in there. And at the end of the day, when you've got a venue this size, you need those facilities. Their benchmark was Wembley, where Wembley was producing income for the FA. They wanted to be doing the same. So again, we looked at reworking and retaining as much of the existing facilities as we could, so that it provided, what was built in 2000 was ready and capable of being reformatted to provide a stadium ready for the 2030s. Quite a different scale. Brentford basically got this stadium, and in essence it's paid for by these residential tower blocks. 1,000 apartments in the centre of London next to the Thames with a view of Kew. They started working on this, as I said, 20 odd years ago when they were in League Two. And what they've ended up with is a Premier League compliant stadium. The key point here was that we had to think about, it's a tight site. How do we cope with modern Premier League broadcast requirements? So we built a big garage underneath the stand, and link that to, obviously, the TV studios, the press rooms, etc. And Sky, who are based down the road, now use this as a base because it was designed for broadcast quality facilities. But it's also capable of hosting other events in there. So you could have e-games set up in there because you've got the clear height. So this is about building in the flexibility into the venue to cater for, and the club didn't know at the time, what they could host in here. And again, the hospitality is king. They have 2,500 hospitality, 7.5% of the capacity is at different levels of provision of food and drink. But again, it's not just about football. It's a community stadium. It's about bringing other facilities in here. But it's also capable of hosting rugby. And one of their tenants is also London Irish, which is a Premiership rugby club. They also share this facility. So, the one thing this place did was that it opened during the pandemic. The fans didn't get the joy of leaving the old stadium and moving into the new. And I was watching the football being played here during COVID, and thankfully we put those dotted seats in because it looked full, it looked great on TV. And if there's something that I've learned is do more of that, because it does help fill and make the stadium look full. So the conclusion I've come to is that you need to define the legacy, but also test the legacy. Get somebody in to write the business plan, make sure that it works. You know, there's plenty of people out there, and I'm looking at a few in front of me, who are capable of doing that work for you. It's, you know, you're otherwise, you are spending millions and billions of dollars, pounds, euros, whatever. But it's also about agreeing what those design parameters are. It's not just, you know, design me a FIFA stadium is not appropriate for a small venue of 20,000. Luckily, FIFA have now just published a new document which deals with stadiums which are not about major events. That's me. You can go and have your lunch.
Thanks, John. I was checking whether my microphone was on. May have known we've had some issues. But thank you for sharing your presentation. And I think what's particularly relevant is that infrastructure has changed so much, certainly during my lifetime as a fan. I remember going to a stadium when I was 5 years old and going to a stadium now, and it's a completely different experience. And the priorities when it comes to building the infrastructure have changed so much, right?
Correct. My first game was Wales versus Spain. We won. Yes.
Wow.
I can't say that often. But, you know, that was at Wrexham Football Club.
Yep.
You know, it's in the news at the moment.
A little bit famous at the moment.
It's on Disney Plus for some reason, you know.
Yeah.
Great owners. Great coverage, actually.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for me, you know, it shows how the infrastructure has changed. I was standing on the terraces back then.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Watching some great footballers. And now we're looking at introducing safe standing, rail seating into the new COP that they're building.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not just about their experience in terms of watching the game. It's also the service behind in terms of the concourses, the facilities for toilet facilities, etc. But it's also, you know, making sure that we cater for the different levels of football. It's not just about the men's game. You got the women's game. The requirements for back of house and support facilities is quite different. So we have to make sure that we're capable in terms of the new facilities of managing the transition from being primarily a men's game.
Thank you so much. Once again, good luck to Wales. I know it's an historic moment, so I hope you can enjoy that. And I think we'll take a quick break now for lunch and then resume after that. Thanks again, John.